guys, welcome back to my channel, Mindful Rifleman. This video is going to go over the unboxing of the ACC chassis and all the components that make up that chassis. I've got the base, the buttstock, vertical grip, 4N weights here, and the buttstock weight, and the proprietary MDT weights for it, and also a separate set of weights that I'm going to run. And I'll show you the differences between the two and why I chose one over the other, even though I have both. It's going to be a multi-part video series or different videos because there's going to be kind of a lot of content over the assembly of the ACC chassis, putting the barrel action in the chassis, little things to look for that maybe nobody really thinks about or hasn't ran into a certain problem that would cause me to check. So I'll go over each step and why I do what I do. So I'm going to stretch that over several videos because I don't think anybody wants to hear me talk for an hour or anything like that. So like I said, we've got the vertical grip here. Going to pop this bad Larry open. Comes with instruction. Nice mint. Thanks MDT. Cool green handle here. I chose the green one because why not? I don't know, black rifles, tan rifles, gray rifles, green rifles, solid color rifles, they're boring. And life's too short to be boring, so why not add a little color to it, you know what I'm saying? It also comes with this cool little, see if you can see this right here. Focus. Right, there it is. T25 Torx. Pretty nifty. So we'll put that on after all this stuff. Like I said, it's going to be a couple part video. So put that off to the side there. Here's the MDT weights. I don't know if you can see those. Not too bad. There it is. And then also with these weights, when I go over the weights, we'll see how much these weigh compared to the other weights that I have, which are built by Built, otherwise known as sawtooth rifles, and we'll see how much those weigh compared to those, and the pros and cons to this versus the MDT weights, and I'll go over those as well. Alright, so we throw those over there, and then the 4N weights, I'm going to go obviously the MDT ones. They're the ones made for internal of the chassis, so these are just the normal just the normal slotted weights that run along the inside of the barrel channel, and then you got like a bag of bolts here. So there's that one. So we'll get to that later. And then also the buttstock weight that goes with it to make sure I have everything balanced the way I want. Little disclaimer real quick. Everything you see here is everything that I bought out of pocket. MDT didn't send me any of this free of charge. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. This is everything I paid out of pocket. Just a little disclaimer. Alright, so the buttstock is the Elite. This is the short version. As previously stated in other videos, kind of on the short end. So my length of pull is probably is around 12.5, 12.6. So I opted out for the shorter version of buttstock. That way I can get somewhat close to that. But yeah, the Elite version, shorter one, obviously the frame is short, and it comes with an integral rear weight. So this is a steel weight back here already. So I may not need the buttstock weight to balance this out. But we won't tell until after I get everything on the rifle, and then figure out where I want that ballast point, and I'll go over that as well. Alright, so buttstock here. Alright, also bag rider. I opted out for the MDT version of the rear bag rider. I've got this one called the Bag Bullet. There's a guy online, I can't think of his name right now, but I'll throw links in the post below. He makes these pretty awesome, he calls them the Bag Bullet. And what it does is it does the same thing as a bag rider does, except it's a cylindrical shaped, and it just sits down inside the bag better, has more contact surface on the bag. He makes them out of aluminum, brass. He makes them for the ACC, the KRG, the MPA, and a few others. I've seen these a couple in the wild. I haven't seen a whole lot of people running them, maybe because they just don't know they exist. But when I was out at California, shooting out there, I saw one and tried it and got my hands on it, and I really liked the way it felt, really like how it sat down in my bag. So I just had to have it. So this would be going on the bottom, like so. And then, yep, we'll go over that more in detail as we get closer to it. So put that back in the box. And then the big piece. Let's see what we got here. MDT, talking about the buttstock, barrel channel weights, I got those. External 4-end weights, got some of those, adjustable grip. Yep. It even gives you a how-to. It shows you pictures on taking it out of the stock, put it in this, torque it that way. Make sure that the recoil lug is back against the lug there. 60 inch-pounds. Alright, so when we get to it, guys, I'll show you what I'm talking about, because I've had a couple buddies that's had these chassis, and I don't know if it's just because of the Action clone, Remington 700 clone they had. The holes where the action screws goes into was not equal to the recoil lug, and in fact, when you put it in the chassis, the recoil lug wasn't sitting flush up against the piece there on the chassis, so he would get weird shifts, impact shifts every time, and he couldn't figure it out for the longest time. He had the barrel, took the barrel off, thought it was the barrel, thought it was a scope issue, tracking issue, and then finally we narrowed it down to we took some measurements, and then found out that his Remington 700 clone, which I think it was a Stiller Action, it might have been a Surgeon, I can't remember, one of those two, it was wouldn't create it equal. in a way. So what we had ended up having to do was glass bed the ACC chassis, and then everything worked out fine from there. But just something to think about, guys. Like I said, this is something I'm going to show y'all when we get to it. Something you can check just as an ease of mind before you get everything put together. You're ready to go. You're anxious. You got rounds loaded. You go to the range. And then all of a sudden, you're grouping, and then now you're starting to chase things. And it's like, all right, there's so many components to this system. Where do I start? It's just something to check off the list early on in the process of assembly. That way you can focus on more if it's the base, the Picatinny base on the action, or if it's the rings, or if it's the scope, or if it's even the barrel, or it could be the shooter. Never know. But this is one less thing you have to worry about because you checked it off early on in the list. Next is the base here. Comes with the screws for the grip, FDE, that long forend, barrel channel there. You get this front piece here that comes off and allows you to slide the weights, the internal weights, in and out without actually taking the barrel action off, which is pretty nice. I've seen pictures of the new Gen 2 and they got rid of that option. So once they're in there, which mine, once I get all the internal weights in here, they're not coming out. I don't plan on taking them out, so, but there we go. It's cut out. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this on my KRG video, but the other problem I had with the KRG was the fact that because I ran a Trigger Tech Diamond, the safety wouldn't work like it was supposed to because it would pin up against the internal of the chassis, and I had to go in with a Dremel and pretty much do the same thing, cut out a little slot for the Trigger Tech safety to work. But once I did that, it was fine. Didn't have any problems with it. And then I hear that the new C4 chassis addresses that issue, so it doesn't have that problem with that anymore. So, if some of you guys running the KRG and y'all plan on running the Trigger Tech Diamond, just keep that in mind, is that you may have to trim out a little bit here for the safety to work like it's supposed to. But hopefully, fingers crossed here, shouldn't have to do any kind of weird modification MDT chassis. So, yeah, what else comes in the box? I think that's it. Oh, action screws. All right, so the base comes with one bolt. You can see that there. Oh, one bolt here, and it goes directly inside of here, just like that. It's squared off. So the buttstock end has these little indents here, keep it from rotating, and flux up. Sits there, all flush up against the base. And I'm curious though, if there's no kind of Teflon material on the bolt, and it didn't come with no lock washer. So just for a little added safety and ease of mind, I'm going to add a little blue Loctite to it. Something on that side there. Do a little bit on this side here. And if you're curious on what type of Allen head this is, because it's a recessed Allen bolt, it's a number 8. Alright. Now we switched over to the big Allen key. Get it all snugged. Alright. good there. Quick lesson that I learned just by doing this is right here it's cut out to where once you get the bolt in, and you could probably take this off and give it a little bit more room, but you take a number 8 or a 5/16 Allen with the ball end, and you're able to get in at an angle. Show you a little bit closer here. That's cut out here, but you're able to get down in there at an angle, and it fits perfect, just like that, to get it all the way down hand tight, and then the last 1/8 of an inch you can go in sideways with it, and crank it over and tighten it all the way up. Let me grab my KRG. See right there, you could just see how much longer the forend goes, even with my spigot mount on the front of my KRG here. It's still not as long as the ACC. It's still quite a bit length left there, especially on the front end. Yeah, there's about another 4.5 inches up here that potentially 2 more weights could go. Definitely a little bit longer. All right, now, so we'll go ahead and loosen up these knobs here. Well, they gotta come out anyway. They're just little brass knobs. This is plastic. They got like a little nipple on the end of them to pin up against the guide rods here. So we'll go ahead and take these out. We'll throw them in the box. Oh, also, they give you extra little set pins. You take an Allen key and you just tighten them in. Take those out. We'll rip this cheap piece off here. All it is a big thumb wheel. It just sits inside there. So comes off, thumb wheel comes off. Cool thing with the bottom of this is you have numbers. So 10 on that side. So once you get your cheek piece set, you can probably write that number down somewhere in your maybe if you keep a matchbook or a round count book, something like that, just so you don't forget. Also, if you look close, you got a nut here, and then a nut and a bolt here, and then behind that it's slotted so that you can loosen these two, and you can adjust a cheek piece left or right. It's pretty nifty. Plastic made. Guide rods are aluminum. The steel piece there. So we'll throw this back on here so we don't lose it. Throw that in the box. I'm assuming the same thing for the back piece. We'll take these off the rear. Put those in the box. We'll rip these off and we'll see what's underneath this. Okay, so that comes off there. Skeletonized buttstock. Alright, so here, if you look, they've got slots. So this is allowed to loosen this, and your butt pad goes up up and down, right? And then also you can loosen these and it will tilt left and right. So you got up and down and then left and right, which I keep all mine centered. But the butt pad itself, I raise it up as about where it's in line with the bore, comes back. Alright, well that's it. Stripped all the way down. MDT ACC Gen 1 unboxing and assembly for the base and the buttstock. Next stop is the paint booth.